Welcome back to Barefoot Bible. I'm David Wright, your guide on our spiritual journey through the book of Revelation. Take a moment to join me in the exploration of our newest vlog on the new Babylon's Queen. We'll uncover this powerful prophecy woven into Revelation 17. And in this chapter, John is granted a compelling vision about the rise and fall of the kingdom of the Antichrist. It's a story rich with symbolism, much like chapter 12. And together we'll delve into key characters and their meanings, which will shed light on the meaning of these divine messages for us today. Don't miss the opportunity to deepen your understanding and faith. And let's look first of all at the woman and the general meaning of her before we get into the actual text. The woman in the passage symbolizes pagan idolatry. And since the very beginning, it's been linked to Babylon, and will be again in Revelation 17 linked to a new Babylon. The beast that's mentioned in this chapter is a symbol of the Antichrist and also his kingdom, both of them. And it's described originally in Revelation 13, the first 4 verses. Now, the beast has a couple unique and difficult to picture kind of attributes. One is had 7 heads, and they represent 7 kings and those kings' kingdoms. And according to prophecies, they exist before the Antichrist's reign. And that'll be coming up in verse 9 of this chapter. And then not only does he have 7 heads, but he has 10 horns, symbolizing 10 kings who will briefly unite under the Antichrist rule. It's mentioned in verse 12. And then there's, now I can put it back up, the city of Babylon, which plays 2 important roles in these prophecies. During the first half of the tribulation, it functions as the headquarters of a one world church because all the different denominations will no longer exist thanks to the Antichrist. And that's coming up in verse 18. Now, in the second half of the tribulation, so it's a 7-year tribulation, and after the halfway mark, the Antichrist makes a bolder move, and then he makes this city of Babylon his new capital of his empire, and he'll take over the temple itself as well. Let's jump into verse 1 and read there. There came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked to me, saying, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So this passage, in this passage, John describes to her as, it's a very derogatory name, the great whore. And he repeats the title 5 times, which emphasizes the importance of it. We shouldn't overlook it, even though it's disgusting. And you'll find it several times in this chapter, and from verse 1, verse 5, 15, and 16. And then when we get to chapter 19, which is closing in on the Battle of Armageddon, she's called that again. The term immoral highlights her connection to the sensual type of pagan worship she leads, and it implies these corrupt practices will be a big attraction to the leaders of the world during the time of the Antichrist. Additionally, verse 1 states that she sitteth upon many waters. And the waters are symbolic of, several times in Revelation, of a wide group of people, like worldwide influence over many, many people. Verse 15 will explain more about that, the use of that term. All right, and let's, I've got a slide reminding you. So look for the symbolism about the many waters, and when you see that, remind yourself, well, that's a reference to people around the world, like the ocean, covers 75% of the world, the water does. All right, and then the woman is depicted as deeply corrupt, engaging in immoral acts. with folks in the earth. And so we see that here in verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, which is a Bible term for all types of sexual sin. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So it's intoxicating. They get hooked on it. They keep coming back and engaging in this immorality in the worship of the Antichrist and other, the Antichrist himself and that which represents him. So the inhabitants of these kingdoms are portrayed as being seduced and intoxicated, and it indicates widespread deception. Chapter 9 showed us that during the tribulation, unbelievers are completely captivated. And Jesus describes it as the worship of demons, idolatry, sorcery, and related immorality in worship. And it's all connected with the spiritual deception going on in the end times. Let's see, let me mention, Revelation 9 also showed us, we discussed it here. Revelation 9 showed us unbelievers captivated by the worship in the days of the Antichrist and all that they put on. But very deceptive. Jeremiah also prophesied about New Babylon. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hands that all the earth, that made all the earth drunken. And the nations have drunken her wine, and therefore they're mad. They've gone crazy for it. Now, let me remind you that each Thursday we come up with a new vlog. Next Thursday is called The Golden Cup of Abominations. And we'll be delving into verses 3 through 6, prophecies about the identity of the woman. And she's actually called a mystery, so she's not easy to unpack. And I really encourage you to tune back in so you can get a little bit further in understanding who or what she is. Which you know she's bad, but looking ahead, it'd be nice to understand her role in these things. Prophecies are crucial to our understanding of the Antichrist, his connection with this woman, and what they both will represent in the end times. So please take note about our broadcast again next Thursday. It'll come live that day. You can tune in any day thereafter, whatever works with your schedule. But don't miss the Revelation series next week as we move our way through these inside looks given to us by Jesus into who and what the Antichrist is, and others on his team, like the false prophet and this woman that he uses for at least a part of the tribulation days. Not for all of it. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.